Welcome to Innovator's Journey, the show where we go behind the experiences and ideas that shape better businesses and stronger organizations. I'm Nick Frank. Today I'm joined by Dr. Susan Schall, founder and lead consultant of SOS Consulting. Susan brings a unique perspective to manufacturing and organizational improvement, focusing on the connection between people, process, and data. After building a career in the industry, she took a leap into consulting and has spent years now helping organizations bring three elements together to create healthier, more effective operations. She's also the author of a book exploring what she calls the 6 essentials of healthy manufacturing. Susan, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Let's go back to the beginning. You've had a wide range of your career, and then you decided to branch into consulting. What was that inspiration behind branching out and doing that?
There was never any great grand plan or dream to own my own business and do consulting. In fact, if you'd asked me 30 years ago that I would be doing this, I'd have told you were crazy. But I left a miserable job, and it was right at the turn of the century, and a number of my former colleagues were doing 6-month training in consulting and said, Susan, come join us for a while as a subcontractor, not join them as an employee. And I thought, well, I could leverage my experience doing that kind of work and at least get started and figure out what else I wanted to do, because I thought I had more skills and more experience to offer than just Six Sigma. And I remembered shortly after I'd made that decision, I traveled to my brother's in Ohio. I live in Virginia, and I traveled with my parents to visit my brother. And we drove through southwestern Virginia, West Virginia, and into Ohio through all these small little communities. And everywhere you see small manufacturers. And I kept thinking just, privately, more or less kind of in my heart, that those are the kinds of organizations that I wanted to help.
Yeah. What did you find early on that were some of their biggest challenges, and how are you helping them now within your consultancy?
Well, the small manufacturers have really been overlooked by our economic development at the local, state, and federal levels. Everyone thinks the big, large corporations with the big brand names that we all know are going to come in and bring thousands of jobs and lots of money to the community. But the slightest little thing happens in the economy and they move out. The small companies are family owned, they're local, they have deep roots, generational roots in the communities. They're there for the community to provide good working jobs, but they are overlooked because maybe they only, provide 50 to 100 jobs. 93%, most people are surprised by this, 93% of the manufacturers in the U.S. have 100 or fewer employees. 93%, not 3%, 93% have fewer than 100 employees. And they're overlooked. And they have missed not only technology, they've missed a lot of the improvement concepts and tools of the last 30 to 40 years. I'm always surprised when I go into some of these small manufacturers and some of the things that I have taken for granted throughout my whole career because I've experienced them and used them for over 40 years. They have no clue that they even exist, let alone how to use them. And I'm just like, where have you been for 40 years? But they have missed all this stuff, partly because they don't get supported economic development. And the other key to the equation is that most of their customers, the larger corporations, offshored, and with them, they took their supply chain. And those kinds of things used to ripple down to the smaller manufacturers, and they don't have the ability to do that anymore.
Sure. You wrote the book on how to create healthy manufacturing companies. You don't have to give away all the secrets of the book.
Yes, the book is the 6 essentials to healthy manufacturing.
You don't have to give all the recipe and essentials out, but what are the things that you implement to help some of these lower and these smaller manufacturers?
Well, as you said in the introduction, I've spent my career integrating people, process, and data. And the 6 essentials all go back to those 3 things: people, process, and data. So the 6 essentials are a cohesive leadership team. Everything starts as the foundation. If you don't have a cohesive leadership team, then you can't get everyone aligned working together to accomplish some results. And then the second is strategic clarity. You got to know, what are we focused on? Who are we? What are we focused on? What do we plan to do this year that you can get everybody rallied around? And you've got to be able to communicate that. So strategic communication. And then 2, they bring in the process and the data piece, process thinking and statistical thinking. Process thinking, we tend to think that our organizations are vertical, that they look like the organizational chart, which is vertical lines of people who report to people. Where the real work happens across those functions, from materials in the door through processing with people to a product out the door. And that happens horizontally across those functions. So that's process thinking. And then the statistical thinking is using data to make better decisions. And I'm not talking about fancy statistics. It's understanding how variation, because we live in a world that is stochastic in nature. I mean, no 2 days are the same. No two people are the same. And that happens in our manufacturing areas as well. No 2 days are the same. No 2 products are exactly the same. No 2 machines, even though they were designed and built by the same vendor, are exactly the same or operate the same day in and day out. And we need to understand those sources of variation so that we can consistently produce quality product. That's statistical thinking. And then the last one, which is one that I've really incorporated much more into my business in the last 10 to 15 years, is human relationships. Going back to the leadership idea, it's all about people. You can't do any of these other things unless you address the people in the organization and their needs and their concerns, and you design your processes and get to root cause and make decisions and solve problems with and through the people. And so I've added a lot more around leadership and team building, and how we learn about each other and how we leverage our geniuses, the gifts that we've been given, to work together to accomplish a common shared purpose. And those are the 6 essentials, and they not just work in manufacturing, but they work everywhere.
Yeah. Susan, you've done something a lot of people have wanted to do. You left a job that you were unhappy with and built something that you're proud of and you're doing now. What advice would you give to someone else who might be in your same shoes were before they left their job to get into consulting? What would your advice be?
Well, if they're leaving a miserable job, don't be miserable. Don't be miserable. Do what you can within, I know that not everyone has the sort of a luxury to be able to step out and do something new. There are other maybe people that are depending on them and their income. So do what you can to create that kind of healthy environment. Because I think we're all leaders and we all have the ability to influence our organizations. Do what you can, buy my book and learn how to do it, and do what you can to create that healthy organization and have that be a ripple effect, not only for yourself, but for others in your organization. Because if you're miserable, likely others are as well. And then if that's not going to work, then make smart decisions about how you leave, and build a network that you can, as I had a network of people who said, Susan, come work with us for a while. So it was kind of a softer landing, and I could learn through that experience of working with them how to do it on my own. So if you can find opportunities like that, do that as well. But don't be miserable. Life is too short to be miserable. So don't be miserable.
I very much agree with that. Susan, if people want to find your book or learn more about SOS Consulting, where's the best place to get that information?
I have 2 websites. One that is specifically focused on the business is Execute, the word execute, EXECUTE, the number 2, and then Compete, COMPETE.com, execute2compete.com. And that's the SOS website. And then there's also a website that's more or less dedicated to me and my career, and has links to all my business things, including some white papers that my book is based on. So if you want a preview of the book, because the book will not be released until later this fall, you can find many of them at drsusanoschall.com.
Wonderful. Well, Susan, I look forward to checking out the book when it comes out. And thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, follow the show, share this episode with someone else who might find it valuable. Once again, a final thank you to Dr. Susan Schall for joining me and sharing her insights. I'm Nick Frank, and we'll catch you for the next Innovator's Journey.